Yesterday, it was too early for a fist pump, but I did it anyway. And it's too early to be too angry about a loss. And yet, Mariners lose 7-0 to the Athletics. They fall to 1-1 on the season. And of course, they're 1-1 in the series with the Artists, formerly known as Oakland, to open the year. Go over the scoring plays. Nothing happens until the fifth when Brett Rooker homers to center, scores Lawrence Butler. It's 2-0. Seventh inning, everything falls apart. JJ Bleday reaches on an infield single. We'll talk about that. Shea Langolier singles to center, and Tyler Soderstrom hits a ground rule double. Boy, Soderstrom has looked great. It is now 5-0 at the end of 7. Eighth inning, Max Muncy. Congratulations, buddy. I wish it was against somebody else, but he clobbers a home run for his first MLB homer. And then in the ninth, just talk about icing on a piece of not cake. I think you know where I'm going there. Luis Urias homers to left center to make it 7-0. Before we get into the positives and the negatives, let's thank Simply Seattle, the very best in Seattle sports gear. Great stuff for the Mariners, the Seahawks, the Kraken, Storm, Sounders, Huskies, Cougars. You can find it all at Simply Seattle. And once you find it, please use code MOLLYWOP15 because not only does it show you're paying attention to the show, but it also saves you 15% off your order. MOLLYWHOP15. It's a great deal from a great local business. Please check them out. All right. I think the only positive in this game was that, number one, you didn't have to use any of your high leverage relievers. So there's two positives. If you start saying there's only positive and you go to number one, maybe you're not good at this, Chris Crawford. But there's two positives. You know what? There's three. Okay, here's the three positives. Number one, they didn't use any of their high leverage relievers. Number two, you did get the win yesterday, so you still have a great chance of winning the series. You got to win the next two to win the series, but hey, you got that win. It would have been very bad to start 0-2. And you can talk about how early it is all you want. It would have been really bad. And number three, I think Luis Castillo pitched okay. It certainly wasn't the best I've ever seen him, but he holds them scoreless for the first 4 innings. And then, fifth inning, he gives up a long double and a long homer to two really good hitters, Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker. The A's are going to be trouble. It's probably going to be a couple years before they're trouble, but they're going to be trouble. The question mark will be how many of these guys they get rid of before they have to pay them and whether or not they're in Las Vegas, and that makes blah, blah, blah. Okay. But those two guys are good. But Castillo pitched well enough to win. 5 innings of 2-run baseball should have been good enough to win. But it wasn't, because we got to get into the negatives. And I think this one's going to be pretty short because it's pretty obvious. The bullpen stunk using those not high leverage relievers, of course. Santos was fine. He was kind of lucky. Gave up a hit and a walk and needed a horrible play at second base to really not give up a run, but okay. Bizzardo is not good. Taylor Sassetto looked awful today. And Carlos Vargas is here because they have no other options. But those three were terrible. They gave up 5 runs. They gave you all of 1 strikeout. Yuck. That's what happens when you throw your 11th, 12th, and 13th pitchers, which is what those 3 are right now. You could argue the order of them. I think Sassetto would be ahead of those guys, but no, they weren't good. And they didn't really keep you in the game. Now, to be fair to Bizzardo, and we can talk about this now, or excuse me, not Bizzardo, Sassetto, he was clearly done, and he kind of was left to hang out one. And then one of those earned runs, and honestly, I don't remember if it's Bizzardo or Sassetto who ends up getting charged with it. That's an absolute error by Jorge Polanco, who made one so-so throw today and then made a terrible decision to charge in front of Crawford, booted it, and it leads to a run when the game was still close to. Jorge Polanco's defense really is concerning. And look, he had a great game yesterday. I'm not taking that away from him. He had a couple of knocks today, I think, too. He had at least one. 1 for 3. I'm sorry. But, amazing game at the plate yesterday. Didn't have to do anything defensively because of how good Logan Gilbert was. But today was not as good, obviously. And his defense at third, his defense anywhere is going to be a question mark. He does not have good hands. He does not have good range. Arm's okay. It's not elite. By the way, I can't help but note that Eugenio Suarez homered twice today. Really good trade. Really, really good idea to get rid of that so that you could get Sebi Zavala and Carlos Vargas. Boy, how good did Carlos Vargas look today? Disaster of a trade. Jared Kelenic also homered too, but yeah. The defense was a little shaky today. Crawford should have made an error, threw a ball about, Sam Howell distance away from his intended target. It didn't matter, though, that the defense was shaky because the offense was wretched. And I'm going to give some credit to Jeffrey Springs. That changeup today was awesome. And it was kind of cool taking a look back on it, seeing Jeffrey Springs pitch like that, because he's not that long removed from being a top of the rotation starter. Injuries, Tampa Bay doesn't want to pay the guy. The A's are forced to add salary because they're going to lose revenue sharing. Trade made a lot of sense for both crappy owners. But Jeffrey Springs can pitch, so I'll give him some credit. But just like Luis Severino yesterday, some credit and a lot of credit to the Mariner offense sucking. Now, note that I was going to use the A word and not another word there, but it sucked. The offense was pathetic tonight. Robles, Julio, and Raleigh were all awful. And Rosarina, the top four were wretched. They combined to go 1 for 8, 1 for 11, 1 for 14 with 1, 4, 6, 8 strikeouts. And that one hit was in a 6-0 game by Julio, just inside of the first base line. Whoop-de freaking do. The offense was terrible tonight. Donovan Solano was wretched. Horrific debut. And I feel bad for him. That sucks, man. You have a good spring training. You get a chance to face a lefty, and you just completely STB. He was terrible. Someone's calling me right now. It's not Donovan Solano, I promise. Just terrible. JP Crawford was awful at the bat on top of that horrific throw that he got bailed out from. The only guys who had decent offensive days, Garver hit the ball hard a couple of times and he gets a hit and a walk. So that was nice. Nice little start there. And Mastroboni, congratulations on getting an infield hit to open your Seattle Mariner career, pinch hitting for Polanco. The offense was wretched, and I have to say, too, I have not been impressed with how Dan Wilson has managed these first 2 games. And to be clear, I'm not rooting against this. Obviously, I'm not. This channel will be so much more successful if the Mariners are good. But I got to call it like I see it over these first 2 games. It's not on Wilson. In this case, it's on Negron. But he made one of the worst, and so we'll just call it the coaching staff. I'm not unimpressed with the coaching staff, and then I'll talk about Wilson in a sec. So for those who missed it, it's a 2-0 game. Garver's on second base. There's 1 out. And Dylan Moore, his patented throw the bat out and gets a little blooper. I'm not knocking it. It's been effective. Throws the bat out, hits a little blooper into center, and DeGrom sends Garver. And it's one of the worst sends I've ever seen in my life. Number one, you're down by 2 runs. Number 2, Mitch Garver is slow. He's in the 17th percentile of sprint speed. Number 3, JJ Bleday has an excellent arm. He's in the 93rd percentile of arm value. Okay? All of those things, what are you doing? Watching DeGrom's hands wave almost gave me an aneurysm. Because even if Garver would have been saved, I have no idea what Mitch Garver's religious affiliation is. I have a pretty good idea. But even if Mitch Garver would have been safe, the process there sucked. It's a horrible send. There's no reason for him to be going. You can't chase runs that early. And in fact, calling that chasing runs seems wrong to me. It's just an error in process. You should have had the bases loaded and 1 out. And look, the next play, and who knows how they pitch Crawford, but the very next play, JP Crawford hits a liner to center that JJ Bleday makes another nice play on, but it would have scored a run. It can't happen. That's such a silly mistake. You take away not just the chance for a big inning, you take away a chance for anything. Mitch Garver had no shot. Play was closer than it probably should have been because I'll give Garver credit. He got a good jump. You still have to know in that situation to hold the runner. And if you want to argue that this guy knows a lot more about baseball than me, I won't disagree. But let's not appeal to authority. That's a fallacy, and you know it. It was a horrible send. I don't know why I'm arguing. There's no way anybody disagrees with me. And if you do, leave it in the comments. I appreciate the feedback. The other thing that just drove me nuts here was, so trying to remember the exacts of it, and I guess it doesn't matter, but so you've got a righty on the mound. You have runners on first and second and nobody out, and Solano at the plate. I don't understand letting Solano hit there. That was mistake number 1. Why not bring in Rowdy Tellez? And I'll explain my logic here. Okay? Rowdy Tellez is not as good a hitter as Donovan Solano. I'll give you that. But he is much more likely, I think, to give you something, in particular a 3-run homer, which you could really use at that point in the game, than Donovan Solano is. So let's say they bring him in and they end up bringing in the lefty. I believe it was McFarland, okay? Well, Tellez has decent stats against left-handed pitching. He is not as bad of a platoon guy, I think I just said platoon guy, as the next guy that they pinch hit for, which is Luke Raley, who hits for Dylan Moore. The massive mistake here is, if they bring in the lefty to face Tellez, you have Dylan Moore, who matches left-handed pitching. Luke Raley cannot hit left-handed pitching. It's never going to happen. Stop trying to make fetch happen and stop trying to make Luke Raley hitting lefties happen. It's never going to happen. He's atrocious against them. He doesn't have the swing path, and he doesn't pick up the baseball well enough to do it. He's atrocious. There is enough of a sample here that it's obvious that Luke Raley sucks against left-handed pitching. What are you doing, Dan? And I don't want to hear the excuse of how early it is in his career. That's a massive mistake. It's a massive mistake. He managed this terribly. And I still can't get over the decision to bring in Trent Thornton yesterday. Now, clearly, the fact that Gregory Santos was used in the 6th inning tonight suggests they don't have a lot of confidence in him. But Colin Snyder's there. I have not been impressed. I have not been impressed whatsoever. Now, thankfully, Rosarena and Polanco play hero yesterday, so that instead of being 0-2, you're 1-1. And you have Bryce Miller and Brian Wu going in these next two games, and it's great. But this offense, outside of one inning, has looked like absolute dog turds. And I'm sorry for insulting dog turds. And you can tell me how early it is all you want. It is. If you aren't concerned watching these hitters, congratulations on that coma through 2024. I'm glad you're awake. A lot of stuff has gone wrong. Disappointing. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. I really appreciate the support. But boy, today was a bummer. I didn't like this one very much. Nope.